Now, it's been a really tough time, and it still is for small businesses and the high street recently. And I'm delighted to be joined now in the studio to find out what it is like for those people running a business. Steph Douglas, she's the founder and CEO of Don't Buy Her Flowers, and alongside a GB News economics and business editor, Liam Halligan. Steph, lovely to see you. Now, tell us about Don't Buy Her Flowers. Why did you start it and when? What's that journey been like as a business owner?
So I had my first baby in 2010 and I received 8 bunches of flowers, and they were all really well meant, and they were for me to say well done and everything else. But anyone that's had a baby will know that it's quite hard and quite overwhelming, and flowers take looking after.
So you've got something else to look after?
Yeah, it's another thing to look after when you're probably feeling really, really spent and a bit overwhelmed.
Yeah.
So Don't Buy Her Flowers is an online gift business, and we started as gifts for new mums, and it's developed to include loads of occasions, bereavement, get well, we work with Stand Up to Cancer. But the whole point is about thoughtfulness. So you can put something together bespoke and you handpick products, which we've got over 250 products from British businesses, small, medium-sized businesses, and you put together something really bespoke and thoughtful for someone.
It sounds so easy, Steph. I bet it's been a dream, hasn't it? It's been a luxurious 8 years, sat with your feet up, seeing kids now.
Well, the first 2 years I was packing boxes on my bedroom floor, and then I took on a warehouse in Gloucestershire, where I'm from, and my brother heads up the warehouse there, and we've built a team there. So, actually the first years up until, so it's been 8 years, the first years up until the pandemic were really steady growth, incremental growth. We didn't take any investment, and then actually it went bonkers with the pandemic. So we were
all the shops were closed,
right?
All
the shops were closed, and people were looking to be thoughtful and for human connection and all the things that we do really well. So that was a really strange time to be having such success. And then that kind of went on for quite a lot of that 2 years. And then things have got tougher since probably April time, when lots of talk around energy crisis. I would say that's when we sort of saw costs really going up as well in the last couple of years. But that's when things started to impact our customers more.
Yeah. This, Liam Halligan, is a very typical story, isn't it, for business owners? Some people had an actual bump during the pandemic for various market reasons, and now it's tough. Why is it so hard at the moment for businesses?
Well, Steph's an example of the absolutely brilliant SME sector we have in the UK, small and medium-sized enterprises. A lot of them started literally on kitchen tables, people seeing a gap in the market, not satisfied with what they're receiving from business, so they start their own. And the Brits are really good at this stuff. Small and medium-sized enterprises account for half our GDP growth, 2/3 of our employment. They're a real powerhouse. Yeah. And at the moment, it's really tough for SMEs, particularly on this late payment issue, because if I owe you 100 quid, right? I'm a big company, you're a small company, I owe you 100 quid. The longer I wait to pay you that 100 quid, the less that 100 quid is worth in inflation terms. And so late payment always escalates during times of inflation. And a lot of big companies, frankly, bully smaller companies, squeeze their subcontractors. It happens particularly in the construction industry notoriously, but it happens across the board as well. And that's why the government is at least putting out a review saying we feel your pain. Big businesses must, look after their small businesses. But look, I remember back in the late 80s, early 90s, a guy called Michael Heseltine, who was then president of the Board of Trade, said this is recognised business practice. This is what happens in business. There's no legislation. Small firms, it's too expensive to go to the small claims court. They haven't got time. They're trying to keep the business together. And I'm afraid whatever the business secretary now says, he will know, as I've often pointed out, that the worst late payer in the country to small businesses is the government.
Is that right, Steph? Do you recognise that picture, that relationship between the big suppliers and a smaller company like you can be problematic?
Yeah, because you're so grateful and excited about, all orders mean so much, but I think when you've potentially got a bigger contract in play, then you want to do everything you can to make that work because of the potential of that.
Of course.
And so they do hold the power then.
Right. What do you need the government to do now as a small business?
I think, if there were any more stability economically, politically, that makes a huge impact. We see it. You see it straight away when there's lots of stuff going on in the media. You see that follow through with how much traffic you get to the website. And customers, and lots of people won't have as much money at the moment, but there'll also be people who have got money, but everybody kind of goes into this freeze mode.
Because we're nervous.
Because we're
not
understandably
sure what's
nervous.
coming around the corner,
Yeah.
what's my electricity bill going to be next month, I'm not going to splash out on someone buy a gift. Do you see yourself very much as the luxury market for gifts?
You can put a package together for kind of £30, and people are always going to be looking for the occasions that we send gifts for. So there's always going to be people who have been going through a rubbish time or bereaved or birthday. So there are still people looking, but they're probably just harder to find at the moment.
Yeah. What about staffing? Because that's what we talked about quite a lot, isn't it, Liam? That the staff shortage in this country, that we can't find enough people to do the jobs. Is that something that you're struggling with?
I think the hospitality sector is seeing it more than we are. Our warehouse is based in Gloucestershire, and we've been really lucky. And actually, like during the pandemic, we had loads of people who were furloughed or who had lost jobs. So we were able to kind of employ people, which is great. And I think what you're saying about the number of people that are employed by small businesses is really overlooked. So I think sometimes we're kind of patted on the head.
Yeah.
And not the amount we contribute isn't.
I'm full of admiration for you, I must say. I come from a small business background. You know, my family ran a small business literally from the kitchen table. Late payment, you know, almost tore our family apart. It was absolutely a terrible thing. And look, small business leaders like Steph and the people who work for them, they're often swing voters. They're very pragmatic, talented people. They won't be pushed around. They are key in any general election, as well as being key to keeping our economy going. And at the moment, I'd say both the main parties are not giving a great offer to our small and medium-sized businesses. Look, the Tories are putting corporation tax up from 19 to 25%. There are some allowances, but a lot of small businesses will be hammered by that. 6% taken off their margin after they've just been hammered by lockdown. On top of that, a lot of small firms, a tax they really don't like paying is business rates. You pay a tax on the value of your premises, your business premises, any equipment that you buy, and you pay that even if you don't take in any revenue, even if you don't make any profit at all, you have to pay that. And it's a lot of money, and a lot of small businesses want more business rates relief. Labour, in fairness, are putting that forward, but they're not saying how they're going to pay for it.
Steph, you don't have shops, do you? Yours is all entirely online.
All online.
I bet you're very relieved about that now, right?
Yeah.
Have there been times when you considered having a shop frontage for Don't Buy Her Flowers?
Yeah, we've talked about it because I think the experience of hand-picking everything that people do with our website would be a lovely experience, but I'm very glad that we haven't. And also, what we are looking at the moment is kind of, and I think something that small businesses are really good at is diversifying. So we've got this amazing warehouse and amazing team who have been really tested in the last couple of years. And so we started doing fulfilment for other small businesses. And I think something that that small businesses do really well is go, right, OK, what can I do?
Yeah.
And that's where we're
nimble.
focused. Yeah.
So you're packing goods for other small firms because they haven't got your infrastructure.
Well, they might be doing it on their kitchen table, and actually they want to get to that next step, but it's really hard and it's really expensive to take on a person, take on.
And yet here you are, a very successful person, brilliant what you're doing. You're thinking about, oh, maybe we should get a shop, maybe we shouldn't. That would revitalise a high street. And people aren't taking the shop fronts because of the business rates, because of the other taxation. That's good for your business now, chapeau to you. But what about the coffee bars, the cafes, the restaurants that rely on those high streets being revitalised?
And the people who go to the high streets, like the little old lady that goes down, you know, has her coffee. Right, guys, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Steph Douglas from Don't Buy Her Flowers, Liam Halligan, you know him.